Clap it up, everybody. Clap it up for our guy, C.J. Stroud. Yeah, because not only is he the rookie of the month, no, not even just for rookies. He is the outright player of the month for the AFC Offensive Player of the Month, and he very well deserves it because C.J. Stroud, he might be the MVP of the NFL this season. He's been playing like it. He's the franchise. He is electrifying, profiling, wheeling, dealing, the best quarterback in the NFL. So I need everybody right now, go down and spam CJ7 for the Texans franchise quarterback because this guy, he's just getting started. He's going to bring the Texans to the playoffs. He's going to bring us to the promised land. If you're not spamming CJ7 right now, you don't have a pulse. Welcome into Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Coming up on today's show, a little dive into the Texans and Broncos injury report and what to look out for. And then also, are the Texans going to sign Zach Ertz? Maybe. We'll break that down on the second half of the show today. But let's get right into it with these guys who returned to practice on Thursday. And I was a little worried when Tank Dell was not practicing on Wednesday. But thankfully, he's back at practice. I really hope he's able to play this Sunday up against the Denver Broncos because him and C.J. Stroud together have been fantastic. Maliek Collins is back. Jimmie Ward practiced on Thursday. So did the tackles, George Fant, Laramie Tunsil. I kind of thought they would. They was just a precautionary measure, keeping them both out because Titus Howard's out. So these two are the guys that tackle, and if not, yikes. Going to be a little bit of a difficult switch around for the Texans. Some guys that did not practice today, though. Sheldon Rankins, DNP. I thought he was out there. My boy Aaron Wilson sending me mixed signals. He said Sheldon Rankins was back out there at practice today. Texans listed him DNP today. But another guy that did not practice today as well, Dalton Schultz. He was not out there. Brevin Jordan got most of the snaps in the fourth quarter of that game up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Dalton Schultz has not practiced this week. So could he be out? We'll have to see as the week progresses. Stay tuned, and that's why you subscribe to Texans Today, just for the latest news, rumors around your Houston Texans. Now let's go across enemy lines real quick. The Broncos injury report. Jerry Jeudy, the only DNP that I saw, did not practice. Will Lutz was limited and Marvin Mims was limited. A lot of injuries for the Broncos in the wide receiver room. So we shall see if Jeudy or Mims suits up. Lutz, I think he'll play this weekend, but he was limited at practice for this week. Before we get going any further, I want to know who you got. Predict the score, Texans, Broncos this weekend. Let me know down in the comments section. I will not be doing a watch party this weekend, unfortunately. I have my bachelor party this weekend. Woo! So, if you want to see the game, if you want to stay tuned, our Raiders host, Mitchell Renz, he'll actually be doing a live stream for the game on my behalf. I appreciate you, my boy, Mitchell Renz. So, go check it out over there. Predict the score in the comment section, though, for me right now. Texans versus Broncos. Who you got? Obviously, the biggest matchup in this game is going to be the quarterback matchup. Two prolific guys. First, Russell Wilson on the opposing side. This year, a bounce-back year for Russ. They're letting him cook under Sean Payton. He had an awful year last season, but this year, almost 69 completion percentage. Nice. 21.99 for yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 103.4. I mean, those numbers, not too shabby. Not too shabby if you ask me, but when you put him next to our guy, C.J. Stroud, I mean, come on. Almost 64% completion percentage, a little bit less. But you notice the yards. Over 1,000 more yards for C.J. Stroud this year than Russell Wilson. I mean, he's not dinking and dunking, folks. C.J. Stroud is letting it fly, and he's getting those long completions. 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a QB rating of 100.8. And besides Eagles, Niners this weekend, this is going to be the most watched game this weekend with the most playoff implications. A lot is on the line, Texans and Broncos. They're right there in the hunt. Both of them fighting for a wild card spot in the AFC, a very highly contested AFC, as I might add. And I really think when it boils down to it, as we look at the AFC playoff picture, one of these teams, whoever wins, is going to have a very, very strong case to have a wild card spot at the end of the year. Right now, Steelers, Browns, Colts, They sit in the wild card spots at 5, 6, and 7. I don't believe all three are going to make the playoffs. I mean, the Steelers, they have Kenny Pickett, who's been up and down this year, not very good. The Browns, they don't have a starting quarterback. And the Colts, they don't have their starting quarterback either. They're riding with Gardner Minshew. So whoever wins this Texans-Broncos matchup could very well make the playoffs as a wild card team. Now, coming up, could the Texans be signing newly released Zach Ertz? I'll break it all down for you. But first, I got to show some love to our sponsor. It's Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS to get a $100 deposit match. It's as easy as this, folks. You choose 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stat types, and place your entry. Easy peasy. This is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And for Thursday Night Football, these are my picks that I'm cooking with. Geno Smith, I'm going less on the passing yards. He's been a little rough. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Cowboys hater, but this just feels like a Cowboys blowout game to me. So I'm going more on Tony Pollard passing, rushing, or receiving touchdowns, and more on Brandon Aubrey field goals made at 1.5. You can use my picks. You can fade my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. And I'll tell you what, the one thing that gives me a little comfort whenever I use Prize Picks is they have a reboot policy, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Now, Texans, are they signing the veteran tight end Zach Ertz? I told you earlier, Dalton Schultz has not been at practice. He's been injured, and Ertz recently released by the Arizona Cardinals. He says he wants to play for a contender. I mean, the Texans, they could be contending this year if they make the playoffs. I mean, strong case, C.J. Stroud with an MVP-style quarterback. I mean, pretty good. Could the Texans be interested? Let's look at his stats over the past 4 seasons. Ertz, a long stay in Philly, was there up until last year when he moved over to the Arizona Cardinals. And we look, obviously not what he used to be. 2021 was his last really good year with over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 74 receptions. Last year, 47 receptions for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. In this year, 27 receptions, 187 yards and a touchdown. Not what he used to be, but he's still a good, wily veteran. So this brings me to this question. Should the Texans sign Zach Ertz? What do you think? Give me a yes, give me a no down in the comment section. I'll be looking. I'm really interested in what you have to say. Let me know yes or no, and give me a reason why. Do you think he's too old? Do you think he can really help this team? Let me know why you think the Texans should or should not sign Zach Ertz. Now, in my opinion, I'm just going to go no. I'm going to go no just because I don't think the Texans really need him at this moment. I mean, if Dalton Schultz, if his injury is more serious than believed, then sure, I would, put a flyer out for Zach Ertz. But the second part of that is I'm like 90% sure he goes back to Philly. Dallas Goedert, he's been injured for the Eagles this year. They need another tight end. Zach Ertz can fit right in, go home to Philly. That's what I really think is going to happen with Zach Ertz. So, do I think the Texans should sign him? No, not necessarily. I mean, if it's the right deal, if he really wants to come to Houston, I wouldn't mind it. But like I said, you already have Dalton Schultz, who's been good for you this season. And I like the upside of Brevin Jordan. I know his stats really don't say a lot for him, but if given the opportunity, I really do think Brevin Jordan can play well. So for the time being, I'm going to say no on Zach Ertz, even though I wouldn't mind. If the Texans sign Zach Ertz, we'll make a video for you. But also, I don't think it would be a horrible move. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's really headed for the Eagles. And dark horse, I think he might go to Baltimore if he doesn't go to the Eagles. That's just my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. That's going to be all for today's video. Thank you for joining me on this ride of Texans news and rumors on a cold and rainy Thursday. So, if you want more Texans news, more Texans rumors, more NFL memes, the dankest memes on the internet, go to follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. And as always, subscribe to the channel. We just crossed 7K. I'm very proud of you. Now we're going on to 8K. Do it for Schaub. Let's go. Go subscribe. Go to youtube.com/TexansTV. If you're already subbed, send it to a friend. Thank you, and have a great Thursday.